in the near-death experience community, whether you're an experiencer or you're just curious about it, which, by the way, if you are curious about it, that likely means you have some extrasensory abilities to dig up, I guess. You're not usually called to this house of the zodiac. You're not usually called to this kind of hidden nook of society. There's a stigma, I would say, still for people who announce publicly they've had these kind of experiences. And I just spoke for the first time at the International Association of Near-Death Studies, IANDS. I know you guys know this. I know you guys have heard of it. And it was insane because I was in a room and it was the first time there was no resistance at all. And I was just met with love and questions, which is so important. There's a stigma, I think, because it's pretty typical for adults in particular to fear what may be completely foreign to them, what may fall outside the allowed thoughts or philosophies of their religion, or, as my dad told me for the first time just a couple of years ago, I've been crying and running into his room since I can remember. And he would always say, you have an overactive imagination, Susan, just go back to bed. And a couple of years ago, he finally said to me, you frighten me. And this is a man who is an empire builder. He could really and does embody the archetype of Poseidon or Zeus, this man of Washington, D.C. He could be on the newspaper, on the cover of the Post, and I'm just getting weirder and weirder and weirder. I've been masking since I was in kindergarten, I guess, but now that's like a very trending word. I heard that. I was like, I've been doing that forever. What are you talking about? I've been pretending not to see the entire complexity of everything I'm seeing all the time. And everyone there had some kind of overlapping experience or a respectful curiosity. And that's where, for example, Dr. Eben Alexander was so helpful, I think, to people like us. He was an atheist neurosurgeon, and then he had his own near-death experience, and everything changed. And just like Carl Jung, he was already a deep thinker and so open-minded, but he didn't discover, channel, create. He did not create the archetypes that we know of today until after his own near-death experience, which makes so much sense to me. My promise to God when I died was to live transparently, which I'm doing. Still kind of to my own mortification, but I want to say one thing. I did notice everyone who may have had clairvoyance or may have experienced something, whatever their story or religion, whatever their habits or their race, we were very different in ages and experiences. My friend Christian Sunderberg, who I finally got to meet in person, he was speaking on his experience of a pre-birth memory. But the thing is, no matter who was speaking And no matter whether it was during lunch or a bathroom break, it was like the entire event was ... one. No matter how anyone phrased their story or their question or their interest, it was an excited acceptance of the consciousness of one, of unity, of blurring the divisions, bringing everyone together. That's what they were all saying. And I know a lot of you guys have read books like by Seth or Ra, and there's even a term, the law of one. I believe in Egypt, Nefertiti and Akhenaten were trying to do that. They did it a little bit too bit early, and things went astray. But I loved it, because that's what I was afraid to say to you. I was afraid to even pray it back to God when I came to. And that was, I am you. I'm not a daughter of God. I'm not like a low speck on the family tree. I am God. There is only one compound or one creative consciousness in the infinite universe, and that is the unnameable. And that is what or whom I merged with, that presented like those beams of light, who asked first if I was done, because we all have exit points. And I was like, no, I am not. So for all of you, and I know I've not met one of us in this circle who has not experienced some kind of trauma, I want you to know, please be so proud of yourself, because most likely that was a potential exit point, a bailout, if it felt too intense and you did not want to go on. So be so proud of yourself. I had a bumper sticker on my car in high school, and it said, God bless the freaks. And I feel like this was a conference of what may be labeled freaks, but the message was so simple, and I always trust simplicity, and it was just one. Or for a more paltry word, love. So look it up, IANDS, it's amazing. Check out some of those books if you're curious. Seth and Ra and Neil Donald Walsh, Conversations with God, and know that you do not need a middleman to connect with the divinity that you are. And that is because you are that divinity. You don't need a priest. You don't need a church or a synagogue. But if those things help you get into that space, then that's beautiful. But as Mother Teresa clairaudiently told me, I had to look this word up, by the way. She said libertine. And I looked it up, and it said religious freethinker. And that is what I feel. But I have no judgment at all for anyone who comes to this embodiment of their divinity and the sacredness of one. However you get there, I honor you. And if you're still here and breathing, and you're one of us, I'm so proud for you. And I'm so grateful you guys have this community for us to land in. I love you all. I'm going to try and turn this live off now, but ask any questions at any point and I will definitely answer them in the comments. Thank you.